Put up your Buchs. Steve Buchanan, Garion, Thorne here. And ladies and gentlemen, the series is over.
Wow.
Garion Thorne coming up with a series clinching victory last night. You can see last week's results here on your screen. Gare Bear taking it 4-2. A victory speech. The floor is yours. Have at it, man.
I don't know. I just thought maybe there'd be a new graphic involved here. Maybe
what?
Maybe some effort could have been put in that department. I don't know. I mean, people said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
I went down 1-0 early. Felt like the crowd really got against me at that point, but I just found something inside myself. The thing people have to understand is no one's ever believed in me my entire life. So this means a lot.
That's
really
true.
does.
Yeah. And you're Canadian as well. Steve, this is not your best performance. You have performed much better throughout your years here at DK.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, people think like this is a bad thing for me. So now Garion has to do the heavy lifting on today's show. I just basically react to what he says. Like, this was actually a plan all along. So now for this week,
I did have to get up slightly earlier.
Right? So now this show, I just kind of kick back, listen to Garion. Yeah, I'll talk about something too. So he does all the heavy lifting. This is a reward for me, if anything. So yeah, sure, Garion wins. Ooh, I'm real upset.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, Steve, here we go. Like, you kind of teased it. Like, as your reward for winning this series, Thorne in my side. I guess we're going to call it that. That's kind of a throwback there. Or put up your thorns. Do you have a recommendation for a segment name now that this is your segment, Garion?
No, I don't think it's better than Thorne on my side. I missed that graphic. I think I've seen it in about 3.5 years.
Yeah, something. I'm going with like feeling thorny. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Oh,
there we go. Okay, so Garion, you do the heavy lifting today. Like, Steve is legit just gonna relax and chill. So give me your pitcher today, if you like.
So do I have to get like aggressively angry at you as you ask me each question?
No, because this is you.
Yes.
I want you to be you. This is how you got here, being you and not somebody else.
Okay. Well, I think I'm starting to go crazy. I'll start by saying that because I keep sitting here expecting the strikeouts to finally come for Walker Buehler. I don't know why tonight would be that night. Washington doesn't really strike out aggressively. They're actually in the lower third of all of baseball in strikeout rate. But when you look at Walker Buehler so far this season, he's rocking a career-low 20.1% strikeout rate, despite the fact he's never had a higher chase rate at 36.7%. He's never had a higher swinging strike rate at 12.7%. The strikeouts are coming. They have to be. They just have to be at this point. And I think he's in line for a fantastic start tonight against the Nationals. This is a slate that is just chock full of amazing pitching. This is basically the closest thing we've gotten all season to an opening day slate since opening day. So there really isn't a guy you have to zero in on necessarily, but I think this matchup is really the key here for Buehler, who's got a sub-3 ERA so far this season. Washington, across the last 14 days, the lowest isolated power in all of baseball at just .097. They can't hurt him with the long ball, and like I said, he's generating enough swings and misses where those strikeouts eventually are going to come. Why not tonight?
All right, let's hear it, Steven.
So I'm going to go way down the board here because there's a lot of good pitching options that you can use. But I look at Sonny Gray at 6,800 going against the Tigers, and I go, boy, is he like 2K too short in the salary department. And that's okay. We'll take the savings all day. There's nothing wrong with his price point. But going against a team that is near the top of the league and K rate, and you have Sonny Gray, who's been one of the more overlooked guys in that Twins rotation. Like, thank God they have him because he's been a godsend for them on the mound. But you look at his numbers, everything checks out. 3.48 ERA, 3.88 FIP. We almost got an identical match there. That's always a strong thing to have. Nearing 11 strikeouts per 9 inning. The walks are a little bit high. There is that downfall there, but we're talking about a free swinging Detroit Tigers team that's going to swing and miss a lot against Sonny Gray tonight. So you're going to have a lot of options to use as your SP1. But I think your SP2 should absolutely be Sonny Gray tonight with that strikeout potential at only 6,800. I think out of everybody taking the slate tonight, he's one of the guys that you can almost guarantee to go 3x their salary. So give me Sonny Gray.
All right, Gare Bear, take us to Infield here. 12 games on this slate. Which is your top pick?
I'm going to stick with this Dodgers game because Josiah Gray is taking the mound for the Nationals, which is just peachy news for any left-handed batter who happens to be a Los Angeles Dodger. So far this season, he is giving up a .676 slugging percentage and 3.38 home runs per 9 to opposing left-handed hitters. This mirrors exactly the issues we saw with him in 2020 as well. He just cannot keep the ball in the park, despite the fact Major League Baseball tried to give him baseball that wouldn't fly out of the park. Josiah Gray still managing to give up home runs. It's kind of impressive, honestly. When you look at his barrel rate per batted ball event, it is the second highest qualified mark in all of baseball, hovering around 15%. I mentioned with, Freddie Freeman's teammate, Walker Buehler, the strikeouts have to come at some point. The home runs have to come at some point for Freddie Freeman. He does not have a home run in the month of May, despite the fact that his expected WOBA so far this season is .430. He is tearing the cover off the baseball. At some point, one of these has to leave the ballpark. I think it's probably tonight against Josiah Gray, who just struggles immensely with left-handed batters.
All right, Steven, where do you want to go here?
Yeah, sticking at that first base position, Jared Walsh is 4K tonight, going up against Dane Dunning. Look, Jared Walsh has been starting to heat up at the plate once again after a little bit of a early May slump. And I think this is just a great spot for him going up against Dane Dunning. All Jared Walsh has done against righties is hit for power, 224 isolated power against him to go with a 338 WOBA and a 125 WRC plus. Dane Dunning's numbers against righties have been fine, but the numbers against lefties is where he starts to trail off as well. Really struggles to find the zone against lefties as well. He has a walk rate against lefties of almost 11%. We don't want really walked for Jared Walsh, but this guy goes to show the struggles that Dane Dunning has had when facing these type of hitters. So I think at 4K, this could even be considered a bit of a value play too as well. But I think Jared Walsh in that hot hitting Angels offense, I think they're going to get to Dane Dunning tonight. Jared Walsh being near the heart of that order, giving him at 4K.
All right, Garion, how much money do you want to spend in the outfield?
All the money.
Yeah, let's go.
Not?
Let's
money
go.
Money is no option on this segment. Yordan Alvarez. Really, really nice spot tonight against Zach Plesac. Zach Plesac is terrible. This is someone who gives up so many home runs, and he just does not generate any swings and misses, particularly against left-handed batters. He has struck out just 12% of the lefties he has faced so far this season. He's also giving up 2 home runs per 9 within the split. Yordan Alvarez is not someone you want to be going up against without the ability to get a swing and miss, because if he makes contact more often than not, it is a hard hit baseball. He also has a 425 isolated power against right-handed pitchers so far this season. I mean, the odds of him hitting a home run tonight I just think are astronomical. So I think Yordan Alvarez, even at his price point, which is $5,600, a really nice play.
Okay, who's a really nice play in the outfield, Steve?
Yeah, $100 more. Mookie Betts at $5,700. This is someone who has double-digit fantasy points in 3 straight games, and then you consider the matchup that he has tonight. Like, he is absolutely locked in at this point. 28, 18, and 20 DraftKings fantasy points over his last 3 games here. He's also on a 7-game hitting streak right now, hitting atop of that Dodgers order. If you're stacking the Dodgers, you're obviously going to start with Mookie Betts here, but when he gets locked in at the plate, he is one of the scariest dudes to face when you're on the mound. So when you have the pitcher that they have going tonight for the Nationals in Gray, and you have Mookie Betts, and then the rest of that lineup here, $5,700, I think you lock in Mookie Betts tonight. Don't even really make it an issue.
Yeah, it was a 10-run outburst by that offense yesterday, too, against the Nationals. Garion, who's your value play tonight?
Looking at the Diamondbacks, and I think the one guy that stands out is Pavin Smith, who's $3,400. Seems like he's locked into the number 2 spot in that lineup when they face a right-handed pitcher. And the right-handed pitcher tonight, Jonathan Hazley, who has started 2 games so far this season, has thrown 8 1/3 innings, and has managed to strike out 2 batters to his 7 walks. He's got a 6.02 expected ERA. This is not someone who had much prospect pedigree to begin with. He's only up here pitching for the Royals because he has to be up here pitching for the Royals. They just don't have anyone else. He is not a major league caliber arm, and I think the Diamondbacks, who have really sort of rounded into form offensively the last 3 or 4 weeks, are going to have a big night. Smith is only $3,400 again, hitting up in the top third of that lineup. He's also got a 383 expected WOBA against right-handed pitching so far this season. That is the second best mark on the Diamondbacks. If they score a lot of runs tonight, I think Smith's right in the middle of it all.
All right, Steven, value play.
Yeah, actually sticking with that team. Alec Thomas, one of their top prospects who was called up not too long ago in the same matchup here. You look at his numbers against righties, and obviously this is a bit of a small sample, but a 461 WOBA, a 323 isolated power, and a 197 WRC plus. He has come up and he has produced like the Diamondbacks hoped he would, and he's kind of solidifying a spot here in this lineup here. So for a lot of the same reasons that Garion just said, and you have Thomas who's even cheaper at 2,900. And he's been hitting in a decent spot in the order too as well. They've bumped him up to the 7th spot in the lineup. Obviously not the most ideal spot in a daily fantasy purpose, but it also helps bring his ownership down. If people are stacking the Diamondbacks, they're not going to be necessarily looking to the 7th hitter. But quite frankly, if Thomas keeps hitting as well as he is, it's not going to be long until he moves up into that lineup. So maybe that isn't accordance to tonight, but you're getting a cheap power hitter hitting lower in the lineup, and the ownership is just simply not going to be there. So for all the reasons that Garion just mentioned, giving Thomas at much lower ownership in that Diamondbacks lineup.
All right, final topic here in this legendary Put Up Your Thorne segment. Garion, what is your bet tonight?
Well, we've already changed the name of this segment like twice today, so let's change it again to Hidden Jewels, because I'm going with the Julian Edlow special of stacking parlay. Oh, there we go.
No.
Right on cue.
What a loser.
So creepy. I'm just going to parlay 2 heavy favorites tonight. I'm going to go with Dodgers money line, Diamondbacks money line. If you parlay those two together on the DraftKings Sportsbook, it is plus 121. These are just 2 of the biggest pitching matchup disparities on the slate tonight. I have no confidence in Hazley. I have no confidence in Josiah Gray. I think Zach Gallen has been arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball in 2022 for the Diamondbacks, a little bit under the radar. I just like both those teams to win.
Steven, you got a baseball bet on this 12-game slate?
Look, it's going to be a sweat, okay? But when you have 2 Cy Young candidates going against each other tonight in the Marlins and Rays, I don't think there's going to be a lot of runs scored. So under 6.5 runs in this game is the play that I'm looking at here. It's going to be sweaty. You're going to hate taking this bet. But Pablo Lopez going up against Shane McClanahan, 2 guys that have been absolutely on one, as the kids love to say, as of late this season. Pablo Lopez has been one of the more underrated pitchers in the league. His changeup has been deadly to say. Opposing hitters are hitting 130 off of his changeup, and he's throwing at just as much as his fastball. And then McClanahan striking out anyone and anybody that comes up to the plate against him. I think there's a lot of plays you can take in this game, but I'm not expecting a ton of runs. Under 6.5. You're going to love that one, but that's where I'm going tonight.